Hey everyone, this is George Couros with a special episode of the Innovator's Mindset podcast. And why is it special? I have no idea because it's just me talking. So thanks for being here. I guess every episode that we're here and is another day to celebrate being around. So thanks for taking your time out of your day to join me. And I'm going to actually talk a little bit about something I saw yesterday. It is July 23rd when I am recording this. I was in Charleston County School District in South Carolina yesterday, and was blown away by the leadership. Superintendent Anita Huggins, absolutely incredible. She's on my podcast recently, and I was really impressed with her, to be honest with you, when I had her on my podcast. And then I saw her in action, and it was incredible. Just really incredible. Her energy. I mean, it just really reminded me how much one person can actually have an impact on culture. And Anita would be the first person to say this, that it's not just her. And that's something that really sticks out to me. When I got there, there's a gentleman, and I think his name was Sheldon. I can't really remember, but I can remember his face amazingly well. But I was there. I don't know anybody other than the few people I met prior to joining that district. And he's a very big man. I'm 6'4". He's probably 3 inches taller than me. And he walks into the auditorium, and I do this. I try to, even though I'm a stranger in these places, I just said, I always say good morning, how are you doing, everything. I just try to, I think it's really hard for me not to say something to anybody I'm passing by in the world. This is something that's really important to me. And he looked at me, and he came in and he shook my hand. He said, thank you for being here. And just the way he said it, I was just like, I just felt so good. And it just, you could feel that was the energy in the room in not just Anita's leadership, but everybody in that space. It was really, really powerful. And it reminds you, like when we talk about culture, it's like this thing that exists above people, but people make up the culture. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I wanted to, I get on the plane after this event, just buzzing from how incredible this is. And I just feel so blessed to work in education when I see things like this and see people really pushing themselves, trying to grow, and really excited about the work that they're doing, but more importantly, excited about the people they're connecting with. And just those things together are really, really powerful. So I get on the plane to go home, and I was thinking about this post already, but it really stuck to me. So I just wrote it on the plane, and it's titled this: How to Change a Toxic Culture Without Losing Yourself. Because there are people who are listening to this and thinking, I wish I had that in my school district or in my school community or your business, wherever. And so I was thinking about this recently, and I travel quite a bit, and I wrote this post about, I know it sounds weird, about going to LA Fitness. And there's something I really notice about LA Fitness, is that I go to them all over the place because I travel and I like to work out as much as possible when I'm on the road. And if there's an LA Fitness, I try to find it. Actually, we'll book hotels closer to LA Fitness. And that's why I have that pass, because there's so many LA Fitnesses around. But even though there's some things that you expect in those gyms, there's some of the same things over and over again, which is why I like going to them. You also notice about the culture. The equipment is typically the same, but how it is used can be a little bit different. So I wrote this post, and I was just kind of thinking about this after being in South Carolina with Charleston County. Amazing school district. And I just feel like if anyone's listening, I haven't done this from Charleston County, I just want to give you a little, just amazing. So I'm going to read you this post. And I start with this quote. What one person sees can change who they become. And that, there's a reason I share this, and I'll tell you why in a second. And so I'll read a little bit of this post, but I'll give you some insights as well. And you can read the entire post down below as well. When a culture is bad, there are really only two options if you plan on staying, because leaving is always an option. You can try to change the culture. You can become the culture. That is kind of it. I thought about this while I was on the road and visited an LA Fitness. Because of my travel, I have a pass that allows me to use any LA Fitness location worldwide. You can tell a lot about the culture of a place within a few minutes if you're paying attention. One of the key indicators is the cleanliness of a gym and whether people return their weights to the proper place. This might seem like a small thing unless you see a 100-pound dumbbell, which only a few people can lift unassisted left where it shouldn't be. that is something that, and just kind of an aside, that is something that really bothers me because can I lift a 100-pound dumbbell? Probably, right? It's not my favorite thing to do, and I'm like intimidated by it. But I know there's people who can't, and then what? And then what happens, right? And then that just every obstacle makes it harder for people to get there. Continuing. Instead of getting in a good workout, you waste your time searching for the right weights. I even noticed that the employees weren't making any effort to put weights back in their proper place. Instead, they were placing them wherever there was space. And that was like, I saw that and I thought that like was really strange. And it's, I don't know where this is coming from, by the way. Is it the people in the gym? Is it the management? Is it a combination? But it's just kind of like, you kind of just notice that people are just kind of giving up. And as I wrote that kind of thing bothers me to no end. I caught myself thinking, why do I even care? And started putting weights back wherever I found space. Why even try? Then I saw someone probably over 80 years old looking around for weights they couldn't find. And I felt immediate guilt. It's already hard to go to the gym at any age. Every little inconvenience becomes another excuse not to go. So I made a decision. I started looking for the correct place to put each weight. If something was in the wrong spot, I'd move it and return it where it belonged. I even noticed someone watching me and doing the same. I'm not pretending it became a huge pay it forward moment, but one person did something different, and that might have been one more than before. All I knew was I didn't want to become what annoyed me the most. That I was thinking about that when I was watching everyone in South Carolina yesterday, is that you kind of start emulating what other people are, right? You start becoming that. I noticed that when people are, with their friends in the airport, there's a lot of people that kind of dress similar that are all friends. It's like you start becoming each other, right? You hear this often. You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. But what if it's 1,000 people? What happens, right? And you start noticing these little situations. And so I wrote about this. And I remembered a video, and I'll talk more about that right now. Years ago, I watched a video with a principal who noticed all the garbage in front of her school. People will walk by and complain how bad the school and culture were. So she started picking up every piece of trash she walked past. There was more than she could possibly clean up alone, but she didn't need to do it at all. Others started picking up garbage too. Eventually, people didn't need to clean up anymore because they stopped throwing trash on the ground in the first place. That really was a paid-forward situation. I remember this is actually part of my Covey leadership training years ago. And it was like a new principal to the school. And it was just really amazing to see how that one person would do these things. And people started noticing, and people started to really connect. I didn't write about this, but I do remember, and this is probably pretty gross, there was like, in one of the bathrooms, there was like urine on the floor that the custodian said, like, try to get out, and it just stunk in the bathroom. So she actually literally like got on her hands and knees and like scrubbed it until it was clean. And then that like totally changed the culture because people saw how much it mattered to that person. Again, as an aside, when you are an administrator, there's a certain ownership you feel over the whole school community, typically anyways. The trick is, and I don't want to say it's a trick, is how do you get people, no matter their position, to feel that same ownership, that it's not just about their class, their job, it's about what you do impacts everybody. And I think that's what I always think about that. Continuing, through her example, the culture changed one person at a time. So you can become a bad culture, or you can try to change it. Honestly, you might not ever be able to change it on your own, but don't let it turn you into something you don't want to be. What one person sees can change who they become. Change the culture, become the culture. Your choice. That's something that I think is kind of want to just add a little bit more before I sign off on the podcast. You can be in a really bad situation, and it's really easy to say, hey, just get out of there as soon as possible. But then also people need to pay for their lives, to make money. I understand that. And so it's easier said than done. If you can leave because you don't ever see the culture changing, then you got to go. Like, if you can, go, right? And there might be reasons or little holdbacks because, grass is always greener, blah, 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 all that other stuff. But if you cannot go, what I will tell you is do everything in your power not to become what you hate. Because I have been in that situation before where I felt I was slowly starting to become more cynical, grumpy. And I will tell you one time, I remember going into a school that I worked at, and the staff room was very toxic. And this is very early in my career. And I remember going there, and every time I would go back to my classroom, I would just be grumpier. There's a lot of complaining about the kids, the families, everything. And it just started as I'm like, this is not how I want to start. This is not how I want to be in my career. And eventually I just said, you know what? I'd rather just eat on my own. Right? Like, I'm not going, like, if the camaraderie makes me worse, I'd rather just kind of go on my own. And so I just wanted to get you to understand that is that if you feel you can't change it, don't let it change you. But I also saw yesterday how individuals coming together can actually make a huge impact. That one person can start that ripple effect, like that principle, right? Like the one person putting weights back. It might not change everything, but it could change something for someone else. So just think about how you can be that person. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you, just some kind of background insights on why I wrote the post, what it made me think about. But I hope you appreciated my thoughts. I'd love to hear from you, any thoughts you have. But just always remember that, systems, culture, they're all made up of people. And if you're in a bad system and you can't leave, if you're in a bad culture, don't let it change you, because eventually it'll eat at you, and you won't like what you become. And you do have a bigger impact than what you believe. Anyways, just want to share that with y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for all you do. Take care.